Joining me now from our bureau in Washington, D.C., from Accuracy in Media, editor Roger Aronoff. Roger, you know what I'd like to see from the mainstream media just once is one of these sycophant reporters stand up at a news conference with President Obama there and ask him, Mr. President, exactly, please tell us, what were you doing on the night of the Benghazi terrorist attack between 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. the next day? Because that's one of the many questions that we don't have answers to.
Yes, it is, Graham, and thanks for having me on again. But don't hold your breath. I don't think that's coming anytime soon. But it's been quite a year for Benghazi. As you say, the media have continued to try to cover it up and brush it off as a non-scandal, but actually quite a bit has been learned this year. Our Citizens Commission on Benghazi released a report in April, and we pointed to the dereliction of duty and what got us into this in the first place. Judicial Watch did some great work, and then the book 13 Hours was released, the Select Committee got formed, and we're hopeful that the coming year, with our help and others, is going to yield quite a bit of significant information on Benghazi.
What the mainstream media is trying to do, clearly, is protect this president, the 44th president, and protect Hillary Clinton. Roll tape.
But emails obtained through a federal lawsuit amplify the point. On September 11, 2012, the Benghazi Guard Force was in such disarray that the security status was described as an emergency. The Republican committee chairman says he wants to hear from key players in the talking points fiasco, including then UN Ambassador Susan Rice, who blamed the anti-Muslim video on national television, former acting director of the CIA Mike Morell, who heavily edited the talking points, and the president's deputy Ben Rhodes, who prepared Rice for the Sunday talk shows.
What if you had a select committee on Benghazi, which is what we have, Trey Gowdy's leading the investigation, but the mainstream media just completely ignores it? I fear that's what's going to happen.
Well, I do too, and we're actually quite concerned about the pace of the hearings, because so far they've held two, and both of them have been on the discredited Accountability Review Board hearings, and they really haven't started getting to the questions of accountability and calling Hillary Clinton and Susan Rice and others to come actually testify and talk about it. There is a lot still to be learned, and there's a lot that we know already that makes this a major, major scandal.
Well, what the presumptive Democrat presidential nominee would say, of course, is what difference does it make? But it makes a difference to us, clearly. Now, this administration clearly has an agenda of dividing this country by race, and the media, the sycophants in the mainstream media, are right along with him. Roll tape.
In Missouri continues to grapple with the shooting death of Michael Brown by a police officer. Another family and community is mourning a similar loss of yet another unarmed young black man.
We've had our own Michael Brown. Ezell Ford, gunned down right here.
My son was a good kid.
Neighbors say 25-year-old Ezell Ford was well known in the South Los Angeles community.
What the media is ignoring completely are the statistics when it comes to policing. Like, for example, the vast majority of violent crime is committed by black males aged 15 to 34. It's a fact. But, of course, the media has a narrative, the mainstream media does, and they're continuing it.
That's right. They've picked stories like what happened in Ferguson, Missouri, the one you just referred to, Ezell Ford in Los Angeles, and of course Eric Garner, and there's really no evidence that any of those were racially motivated. So yet they're using these stories to create this narrative that we have this epidemic of young black men being killed by white policemen. And it is, we've seen what kind of negativity that has created, and it resulted in the recent deaths of two New York City policemen right on the streets. It's and as you say, the president and his involvement with Al Sharpton, it's really been quite disturbing and disgusting what has been happening there.
It's shameful because through the media, the president has been able to foment this hate, and America certainly does not need it. Roger, thank you for the good work.